Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator Troubleshooting Sim Update 5. I think this is video number 3. Now, as you guys can hear, the storm and lightning, everything's going on in the background. I kind of figured, ironically enough, that's live weather here, but it's kind of appropriate given what today's video is about. See if we can calm some of the storm. So stick around, guys, because we're going to go through quite a few different steps. This will probably be one of the last one of these until we get to, until Asobo releases a fix, but let's see if we can't solve some of these problems today. If you are interested in learning how to fly the TBM 930 from Microsoft Flight Simulator, consider joining my Patreon site, level tier 2 or above, which gives you access to all of my guides, which include the A320, the G1000, and now the recently released Cessna Citation Longitude. These guides include everything from cockpit tours to full instructionals on how to use all the systems, creating your flight plans, as well as the different types of approaches and takeoffs that are available to the different aircrafts. They are extremely detailed, full with pictures and identifying markers to make your flight sim experience with this aircraft as easy as possible. Again, link down to my Patreon site found in the description below. All right, so real quick, also, I want to remind you guys that we are streaming on Twitch now. We will be doing every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, starting at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and running for about 2 hours. So make sure you guys grab that link down in the description below. Join the Twitch channel. We had a lot of fun the last couple streams, a lot of laughing, giggling going on while doing some serious flying as well. So it's really been a good time. I really appreciate the community joining up and having some fun with me and being able to talk real time. It's kind of fun. Okay, so now let's get into what we're here to talk about. And again, we're going to go through a bunch of different steps, and you're just going to have to ride with me, and hopefully we figure them all out. Now, with the TBM 930, the reason why we're sitting here talking about this one here is, as you can hear that chiming going off, that is the parking brake chime. So if we do this and clear our master caution, oh, you know what? That's a battery alarm. Hang on a second. Yep, okay. Stand by. Let's do this first. We're not really doing an accurate startup here. We're just getting her started. Yeah, see? There it goes. And by the way, for anyone who's still having trouble moving the throttle from the right side to the left side, we're going to go holding left click. Notice that the cursor is gone. I'm holding the left click down, and I'm going to tap the right click. And there we go. All right, so let's clear these cautions here. Let's come up top. Fuel selection to auto, ignition to auto, autopilot trim. Groovy. Okay. So now everything's all nice and quiet. We don't have to worry about anything more. Everything sounds good, right? Until we do that. Every time you set the parking brake, and then if you silence it, it continues to chime. I'm going to show you guys why. So all we need to do is we need to get out of the simulator. There we go. And we're going to pull up our add-ons linker. And it is this one, the 208B performance mod. And I'm also going to go to the website in case you guys grab it manually. This one here. And a link for this will be down in the description below just in case this is one you guys are looking for. But if you go to your download, and this is what it looks like, if you have the 208B mod installed, that is what is causing the constant chiming with the parking brake. If you remove the 208 mod and go back to the TBM 930, everything works fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about our next issue that has been coming up. All right, so the next thing that we're going to talk about here is people experiencing black screens or white screens on the MFDs when aircraft that are using the G3000 or G5000 suites. So, and possibly even the G1000. The biggest thing I'm going to tell you guys, let's start with the white screens because it's the most common that I've seen with this particular issue. With the white screens, it's most common that I have seen is the livery. Okay, make sure that anytime you're doing testing, guys, if you start noticing an issue, please switch back to the default livery. For example, this is the default livery for the TBM 930, and you will see here it says default. Okay, make sure that you're always bouncing back to those and then test again. In the liveries with the recent update in Sim Update 5, even the external liveries are actually impacting the internal liveries now because of the way they are restructured. So you have to make sure that the livery that you are using has been updated. There is a process that can be done to modify other liveries, but I have not tested it myself, so I'm not going to showcase that today. If I get that done at some point, I will absolutely be showing that. But there's a lot on the table right now, so that's sort of low concern at the moment. But please make sure that you go back and test again with the default livery, then go back into the sim and see if the white screens go away. Okay, again, that is with the G3000, G5000, G1000 avionics suites from Working Title. If you are experiencing that, it is likely the livery. Okay, and it may be the same case with the dark screens, although all I've been seeing is the white screens. Now, to talk to the dark screens for just a moment, one of the things that people are noticing is things like on the honeycomb controls. Is you need to make sure that your avionics switches and bus switches are in the on position, even when not mapped. I did do some testing on this the other day. Drug my honeycomb yoke out of the closet, or out of the box, excuse me, and hooked it up, and sure as heck I couldn't believe it. The controls themselves were not mapped. I must say that, okay? If you go into your options and controls section, where the heck are we? Here we go. Options. There we are up there. I'm not used to going from this menu. Go to control options, etc. Find your honeycomb up here. Okay, and this may be true with any other aircraft or any other flight control. The bus and avionics switches were not mapped, and yet I had to turn them on in order for it to come on. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe that one. That was really odd. So anyway, simple workaround. So make sure that you are testing all of your flight controls. Something that you can do as a test is try disconnecting all of your flight controls and then go into that same aircraft, do a startup manually with the mouse and see if everything comes on. If everything comes on, then you know it's one of your controls that's triggering it. Okay, so that's just another tip, hopefully to clear some of the black/white screens that are going on. Okay, all right, let's move on to our next one. So the next one that we're going to talk about here is, again, hopefully another crash to desktop fix. These are going to be a few things we're going to be disabling here to hopefully solve some of the problems. First off, going to traffic, make sure that you set it to off. We don't want any traffic off to hopefully limit some of these. We believe that some of the AI spawning may be causing some of the crashes. So disable any traffic if you are consistently, and if you're noticing, like for example, I was noticing it the other day. I had a crash when I was flying to KTUS, right about the time that I got about 50, 60 nautical miles away, if even that. I don't even know if I was that far really. We were coming up on the first leg of the approach, so I think I was probably closer than that, honestly. But I had a sim crash, and that would make sense if it was loading in the ambient aircraft, right? You know. So turn all live traffic off, turn AI traffic off. You can come here to data, turn all your online functionality off, to shut it all off and see if that doesn't resolve some of your crash to desktops. Anything that would require a spawn or a change, that could be live weather. Okay, live weather is going to be constantly polling a network server that's going to be looking for what the current weather data is. Shut that off. Multiplayer, it's going to be constantly trying to generate multiplayer aircraft in your scenery. Shut that off. You know, anything that's causing the environment to constantly change or be updated based on your location other than the visual scenery itself, right? So that's going to be your ground objects. It's going to be your ground AI traffic. It's going to be static air traffic, multiplayer air traffic, live weather. Again, all of these things that are going to require a pull data from a third-party source or the generation of new objects. Obviously, you can't turn off the scenery, so we're going to limit everything else. Okay, so try that. Turning all these off, turning the AI traffic off, ground control, everything. Shut all these down to 0 and see if that doesn't help you guys with some of the crash to desktops. Okay. The next thing that I want to show you guys is a weird flickering behavior that's happening with, specifically from what I've seen, the A320. I haven't seen any other aircraft yet, and I don't know if it's because of the size of the aircraft or not. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's true. Let's try a 747, because I think I did see it with a 747. So we're going to come down here. Where's a cargo ramp? This is one of the things I am very happy about with Sim Update 5 still, is that you can actually see what's going on over here. So Soba still gets a lot of credit for Sim Update 5. It wasn't all bad. It really wasn't. Even though I was madder than a hornet, and I'm still very frustrated with a lot of things, and I feel like some of the stuff shouldn't have been caught or shouldn't have been missed. It is what it is, so we're just trying to work through it, right? All right, so let's go here. Let's grab a livery. We don't want to do the default livery. That's boring. Let's do UPS. Do a cargo ramp here. And we'll load it into the sim, and what I'm looking for is on the external view, there's a bunch of flickering that's been happening, and I got a tip on what that may be, and we're going to take a look at how to resolve that. We will be streaming here again, guys, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday night, so make sure you guys come and join us. That's going to be starting at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully that's not too soon, but we should be able to catch most of you when you come back. And I'll be streaming later if I can. Oh my gosh, look at that nose. It goes right to the building. That's probably pushing it a little close. All right, so I'm actually not seeing it now. There's got to be a catch to when it happens. I'm intentionally doing this. I know it's probably driving some of you nuts. I'm really trying to make it happen. And I have noticed that it doesn't happen all the time. So I'm trying to force it. I've noticed that the longer that I'm using it, the more it starts to pop up. Oh, gosh, that was almost a crash, I think. That was a big lag there for a second. So, damn. Can't seem to make it do it. Let me try the A320 real quick. I'll be right back with you guys. Okay, so it's still not happening. So, like I said, it's something that sort of shows up over time. And what you'll get big squares, like from the external view, like if you're on the ground, like anytime you move the camera, okay? Oops, Jesus. Anytime you move the camera in the bottom and left right-hand corners, you would get huge squares that would turn black, like all in this range here. Okay, and they'd flicker, and you'd see weird flickering on the ground. Like, let's see if I can... Oh, there's some. But anyway, so if you are experienced that, hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about for those of you who have seen it. If you have experienced that, then let's go ahead and take a look at how we can resolve it. And this kind of interesting, but it works. All right, before we get started into video drivers and removing drivers and things like that, the other thing I want to talk to you guys about real quick is overclocking. Make sure that if you are doing any kind of overclocking, whether that be CPU, RAM, or GPU, you remove your overclocking. Overclocking is one of those things that we do, we create instability in an already stable environment. Okay, and you don't want to be doing instability with instability. The simulator is clearly not stable, and therefore if you're running any kind of overclocking, you're just adding another log to the fire. So I would absolutely recommend any overclocking be removed for the time being when dealing with Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's just one of those things that you can't rule it out. You know what I mean? So with that being said, again, the next tip to that would be, I have seen multiple reports now of MSI Afterburner. If you have it installed, remove it. Now, my thought process is you shouldn't have to remove it, but you do want to make sure the service is disabled in your services. And the safest way to do that is to uninstall it. But make sure that you're not using any kind of overclocking. Make sure you're not using MSI Afterburner. Make sure you're not using X1 Precision from NVIDIA, or from EVGA, excuse me, not NVIDIA. And then see where you go from there. All right. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and move on to the drivers now. Okay, so we have quite a bit to go over in this section, and I want to tell you guys why we're going here, so stick with me for just a second. Please don't skip ahead. The reason why we're talking about rolling back video card drivers is not just because of the artifact. The artifacting is part of it, but I am not 100% convinced that it is quote-unquote Microsoft Flight Simulator that is crashing. It may be the display drivers that are also dumping. Okay. Now, Microsoft Flight Simulator would still be the cause of the drivers crashing, but it may be the drivers crashing. So we're going to try a couple different things here. As I was getting ready to record this section, a new version of the drivers are now available. The version before was this one here, 47141. This is what is currently installed, and I'm going to show you guys real quick how to confirm what version is installed versus what GeForce is showing. So this is GeForce Experience, and again, this is only for NVIDIA users. AMD, this particular portion may be slightly different. So we're going to right-click on our Start menu, go to Device Manager, then click on Display Adapters, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Ti, that's my card. I'm going to go to Properties, click on Driver, and you can see these last 5 digits, 47141, 47141, okay? Now, if you are not like me and you do not do a clean installation every time you update your drivers, you may very well have a rollback driver button. If you are in that particular situation, go ahead and give that a click. Restart your computer. Let it run through its process. Restart the computer. Relaunch the sim. See if you still have any issues. With all of the previous testing being done first, I would say video card drivers right now is probably last resort. Okay. Now, if you're like me and this is not here, then you're going to have to do it manually. And I'm going to show you guys how real quick. Okay. So first thing that you will need to do is you will need to go to this website here. Again, link down in the description below. And you're going to have to find the previous drivers. So the first step is you obviously select a GeForce if you're on an NVIDIA GeForce card. In my case, I've selected GeForce RTX 20 series and the RTX 2080 Ti. Okay. Then you would click Start Search. After you start search, you will scroll down and you will see a list. Here is the current release, 47168. This just released today, as you can see, August 10th. Okay, 47141, there it is on July 19th. This is the problem child, we think. And then here's 47111. You would then grab the download. You just click download and that driver will download. From that point, you will then have a file that looks like this inside of your downloads directory. This is the driver, and you can see 47111 that just installed. Okay, but we're not quite ready to use that yet. Before we can do that, we need to remove the previous version or current version of the drivers. Now, what I recommend is then going to this website here. Now, I'm going to back up a few hairs here because this will trick you if you're not careful. This is the link that you will initially get to. Okay, you'll come to this page here. Notice all the junkware and everything like that. You want to come down to right here where it says Display Driver Uninstall, or DDU for short. We click on that. Okay, now this is another one that's going to get you if you're not careful. A lot of times there will be a Start Download button here or something like that. We're not ready for that yet. We're going to come right here to click here for Download and Support. Okay, and then now we're here. And you can hit Display. You can just click this link right here and the download should begin. Oh, nope, sorry, one more. Click on that link and scroll to the bottom. Official download here. All those steps just to get to the software. I hate these bloatware sites. But you download this. This is a very awesome tool. Been using it for a long time. You guys can find this all over YouTube. It's a very common tool. It's a safe tool to use. Now, I obviously can't walk you guys through these next two steps. When you run this executable, it's going to extract it to here, okay, wherever you deem that you want to extract it to, desktop, whatever, but it's going to look like a folder here. You're going to open this folder up here, and this is what you're going to be presented with. You're going to run this uninstaller. Now, at this point, I do recommend that you be disconnected from the internet. After this uninstaller runs through its process, and again, there are YouTube videos on actually running through this. I do recommend that you guys watch a couple of those. Just go on YouTube and look for DDU or Display Driver Uninstaller or how to use it, etc., and it will walk you through the steps. I can't do it because I'm actively using NVIDIA Shadowplay as we speak to record this screen. But anyway, you want to make sure that you remove your internet connection when you are ready to do so. And the reason why is that the second that Windows 10 detects that your driver is uninstalled, it's going to go out and try to find you the best one that it thinks is the best driver to install. We obviously don't want that. So unhook it from the internet. You will run this program, uninstall the current drivers. You'll restart the computer, come back in, launch your drivers that you want to install. Again, complete that process, do a reboot, then relaunch or restart your computer, then you can hook it back up to the internet, and you should be good to go. Okay, with the version that you want to be running on. So with that in mind, hopefully that covers all the issues in regard to uninstalling and reinstalling drivers. The other thing that I would recommend always before changing your drivers, guys, like for example, here's the latest one. So you find the latest 47168. You can see the release date, August 10th, 2021. This is NVIDIA GeForce Experience. We're going to click on this button right here. That's available on every single release. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and find this guy right here. At that point, you'll be presented with a PDF that has the release notes and all of the information pertaining to the release that you are about to download or install. I highly recommend looking at this, as it often presents bugs that are already known with this particular driver that you may not want to be impacted by. So always read your release notes first. At the same token, there are certain things, like for example, if we go to fixes here, there was one here that already caught my eye. Now, this isn't necessarily pertaining to us, I don't know yet, but rendering artifacts appear on the desktop when using NVIDIA SDR Deep Color. Probably not being impacted by that, but I am seeing artifacts. But one thing likely does not have anything to do with the other, but I'm just giving you guys a couple of examples here. For example, the Division 2 may display graphical artifacts. We're not Division 2, but we're Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we're displaying artifacts. So that's two different hits on artifacts being presented there, so it's very likely that Microsoft Flight Simulator is included in this. So we're going to give that a shot. I'm going to install the latest drivers, and we will see what happens. Unfortunately, as I showed you guys, I'm not able to reproduce on demand, so watch for a future video if this were to reappear. But I hope some of these tips and tricks have helped you guys out today. At the very least, I hope you got a real quick geek lesson, on video card drivers. But as always, guys, continue to submit your solutions and the issues you guys are having. Keep the community involved. We're all here to help. We've got a really strong community with Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I would say flight simulation in general has a really awesome community. So just keep reporting your issues, keep talking, guys, and hopefully somebody will come across something that will solve your problem. So until then, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget, live stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday nights right now at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Have a great week, folks. Talk to you soon.